Good morning everybody and Happy New Year to you all. We hope you had a really lovely Christmas and did lots of nice things. I'm here to welcome you to our new online series. But no spoilers from me. Claude is going to tell us all about what it's about a bit later on. So have loads of fun and I'll see you at the end.
Hi Kat!
Hi Claude.
I'm a bit confused about what's going on this week, if I'm honest, because, lockdown's happened again and I won't be able to, come and be around you. So I just wondered what you need me to do, really. I'm a bit confused.
Well, I think the next couple of weeks are going to be really exciting because we're going to have a whole new series that we're starting online. It's all about the stories that Jesus told, the parables. In fact, if you tune in to the video that I'm about to make, then you'll learn all about it.
Okay, well it sounds like you've got a plan, Kat, so that's really great.
But I do have something I'd love you to do. Do you think you could read out the stories?
I'm more than happy to do the Bible readings. I really enjoyed doing that over the summer. Thanks for helping me, Kat, and explaining what's going on. Also just nice to hear your voice.
Thanks, Claude.
Alright, have a nice day. Bye!
Bye!
Hi folks, welcome to this week's Chat with Kat, and we are starting a brand new series looking at the stories that Jesus told. Now in our house we love stories. I'm going to show you some of our favourites in a minute. I think they'll appear backwards to you because of the way that I'm filming, but we love Going on a Bear Hunt. Anyone else read that one? Monkey Puzzle, and the current favourite, Harry McClary's Shoe. Now, Jesus' stories weren't told to entertain us like maybe reading a story like this would. They were to help teach something. But I bet when your teacher uses a story to explain something, it's about making the point really clear. Jesus used stories in a really interesting way. He made them like puzzles, little riddles that we're going to need to do some detective work around, really investigate to understand what's going on. You see, Jesus' stories, which are called parables, are a little bit like this onion. Can you see how this onion's got lots of different layers to it? And to really listen and understand a parable, we're going to have to peel back the layers so that we can learn what they're all about. And when we peel back those layers, we'll find that the parables all tell us something about Jesus or God's kingdom. Now, God's kingdom is about God ruling over everything. It's about God's rule and us living under God's rule, living God's way. So these parables are going to teach us something about what that looks like. Now, when Jesus told these parables, he was telling them mainly to big crowds of people, and there would be all sorts of people listening in. You'd have old people and young people, rich, poor. Some of those people didn't like Jesus. Some of them hated Jesus. He didn't fit their picture of what God's king looked like. So when they listened to the parables, well, they didn't dig very deep into them. They would just hear them and think that they were silly, strange, irrelevant, and they wouldn't learn anything, and it didn't change them. But for those that were interested in Jesus, who wanted to find out a bit more, and were willing to put the work in of thinking about them and working out what they really meant, well, it was life-changing for them. They discovered who Jesus really was and what it really meant to live God's way. So, are you with me, guys? Are you ready over the next couple of weeks to look at these parables, look at these stories, and find out what they really mean? What it is that Jesus wants us to know. It might be life-changing for you too. Okay, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.
In the Bible, Jesus taught his followers how to pray with a really simple format. We've got a really simple format that we use. We think about saying thank you, sorry, and please. I'm going to say a prayer for us now, and I'm going to use that format too. If you agree with what I say a nice loud amen at the end. And you might want to add in some other things as we go along that you want to say thank you, sorry, and please for. Alright. Dear God, Thank you for the beauty of the world around us, that you created it for us to enjoy. Sorry for the times that we do things that aren't your best for us, especially when we should know better. Please help us to be loving and caring to our families and those around us, just as you taught us. Amen.
Okay, so Malcolm's asked me to help do the craft or the game, not sure what it is this week, but it's a game called Consequences. Now, all I have to do is write down the name of somebody on the top of my paper and then fold it over so nobody else can see it. So, let me find some paper. I've found some paper, so now I'm going to write down the name of the person on the top of my piece of paper. Who should I write? I've been thinking about it. Still thinking about it. Okay. I think I know who I'm going to write down. Okay, well, I've decided to write down the name on my piece of paper. I've written my best friend's name in the whole wide world. It's Malcolm. Malcolm Kid I've written, and now I need to fold the piece of paper over, which is quite hard when you've not got anybody to help. Okay, nobody can see. Now, somebody else has to write something now. So, at the top of the paper, it says Malcolm Kid. Malcolm Kid.
Went to the moon.
They saw a huge dinosaur munching on candy floss.
They felt excited.
They did a hokey cokey and they turned around.
And that's what it's all about.
You guys could join in this at home. Now, here in the building, we couldn't pass a piece of paper around between us because that wouldn't be safe. But you can play this game with your folks at home. The things we wrote were a person, and then fold the piece of paper over and write they went to, and then write the name of a place. Then fold it over again and write they saw a, and then write an object. And then they felt, and then write an emotion or a feeling. And then they did, and then an action, whatever action you think would be best. Have a play with your family at home and see what stories you can come up with.
So we've been thinking about stories this week, haven't we? And we've been thinking about the stories that Jesus tells. But I want us in our reflection time to spend a little bit of time thinking about our story with God. So what I mean by that is thinking a bit about what our journey with God so far looks like, and maybe thinking about the future as well. So for that, you're going to need a bit of paper and some pens. Now, first thing to do, fold your paper in half and then fold it in half again. So it's like that, and then just open it back out so that you've got 4 boxes that can make your comic strip. And then just spend a little bit of time thinking about times that you and God have had together, times that have been important, that maybe crop up in your head about your story so far with God. And then we're going to draw a picture in each of the boxes to make our comic strip. Now don't worry if art isn't your thing. I'm not very good at art either, so no laughing at what I draw, but maybe you love art, in which case go to town with it. So I'll tell you all about mine to help you think about your story as well. So I went to church when I was little, back home in Scotland, so I'll draw what our church looked like. There we go. Let's and I didn't really enjoy it. So there we go, that was the first part of my story with God. Going to church but not really liking it at all. Maybe you've had a similar experience, maybe you've been going to church all your life, or maybe there was a specific time where you started going to church. Then in my next box, I'm going to write YF. It was a little bit like our Pathfinders and CYP groups, and there I met some lovely people who were Christians, and it's where I got to learn what the Bible was all about and who Jesus was, and that's when I became a Christian. So that's my box there about that. Maybe one of the groups that we do at St Mary's might feature one of your boxes. Maybe you enjoy it, maybe you've struggled with it, maybe you've made some friends there. That's all part of your story. And then in the next box, I'm going to put lots of question marks, because there was a time in my life where I'd become a Christian, but I just wasn't sure anymore about it all. I didn't know whether God was real. I didn't know if Jesus really was the Son of God. I didn't understand why a lot of things were happening, and so I had lots and lots of questions. And that might be something that you've experienced too, whether it was before you were a Christian or after you're a Christian. Sometimes in life we just have these moments where we've got lots of questions, we don't understand stuff, and God's okay with that. And then in my last box, I'm going to draw one of the significant places where I've learnt lots about the Bible and about God, and I'm going to use hills to represent that place, because there's a lot of hills at Keswick, and that was a Christian conference that I'd go on lots when I was younger in particular, where I'd have a whole week where I'd learn lots of things about Jesus, and it was really good for me growing as a Christian. Maybe you've been on a camp before, maybe you've done a Christian camp, maybe you've gone on a Christian holiday, maybe something like that might make it onto your storyboard. Maybe not. Maybe you're struggling with what to put on here. Maybe you're thinking, well, I don't really have much of a story yet. Perhaps that you could spend some time thinking about, well, what's stopping me having a story with God? What is it that I need to ask questions about? What are the questions that I have? Maybe you want to think about, well, what would I like my story with God to look like? Just spend a little bit of time with a piece of paper and some pens and talking with God about your journey with Him, your walk with Him, learning to know who He is. Each of us can have a story with God. So I hope that this helps and that you can have just a little bit of quiet time to think about your relationship with God. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.
I don't know about you, but I am so excited to learn with you guys some more about the stories that Jesus told. Each week we're going to be uploading a new video to this playlist on the YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out, and I'll see you next week.